After the argument with Kurosawa, I couldn't find my place. I was tormented by insomnia. At night, I lay awake with my eyes open and replayed our conversation over and over again. To better understand the situation, I decided to ask my friend Tsuge for advice. Tsuge was straightforward. This was definitely my fault. I didn't tell Kurosawa that I was giving up the position for his sake, and unlike me, he can't read minds. On top of that, I asked for advice not from my boyfriend, but from a complete outsider. I hurt him deeply. I realized that I had to talk to Kurosawa as soon as possible. I understood all of this logically, but in reality, I always froze and couldn't find the right words. Tsuge suggested that I write Kurosawa a simple letter. Without magic and without rushing. I wouldn't hear his thoughts, but I could put more meaning into a letter than into a short phone message. In the following days, we still couldn't meet at work. First, Kurosawa was constantly traveling, then I left on a 10-day business trip myself. The distance only intensified my anxiety, but I needed to tell him about my feelings as soon as possible. So I finally wrote the letter. I apologized for not consulting him back then. I wrote honestly, without excuses. I had grown too used to relying on magic. Kurosawa opened his soul to me, and I got scared and lost my nerve, stepping back at the very moment when I should have stepped forward. I wanted him to know that I loved him so much that even the thought of separation made me uneasy. For the first time in my life, I confessed my love to someone in a letter. Even though Kurosawa was far away, I kept thinking about him, on the road, at work, before falling asleep. In 30 years, I never dated anyone. I always believed that such a miracle would never happen, that the person I liked would never fall in love with me. And yet, for the first time, Kurosawa fell in love with me. He's a man more handsome than me, more confident. On the outside, he's calm. On the inside, he's full of worries. I was so astonished by this that I became truly afraid, as if I wasn't ready for such happiness. How surprised I was when returning from work, I saw Kurosawa near the hotel. A cold rain was falling, and he was soaked to the bone. After receiving my letter, he wanted to see me desperately. He wanted me to say in person what I had written. If he had the same power as I do, he would know what I truly think, but all he had was faith. I find it hard to choose words, but I decided to try anyway. I didn't want to hide anymore. At first, I began listing everything I liked about him. His voice, his gaze, his kindness. It came out awkward. I stumbled and didn't know how to express my feelings. Words weren't enough, so I kissed him. We kissed and touched each other for a long time. The world seemed to disappear, and I was the happiest person alive. We spent that night together. In the morning, I admired the half-asleep Kurosawa lying beside me, when suddenly I realized I couldn't hear his thoughts. I had believed I would remain a magician forever. How wrong I was. A flash of fear passed me through. How was I supposed to live now? But after thinking it over, I understood that before I used my power to make sure of his feelings. Now I didn't need that anymore. I could feel them without magic, and I knew we would be fine. Perhaps that's why I lost my power. Without any extra noise, the warmth and the scent of his body felt stronger, more real, more alive. Kurosawa left on a morning flight and gently kissed me goodbye. We agreed to talk about my transfer after my return. Straight from the plane, I went to Kurosawa's place and told him that I had accepted management's offer after all, that I was transferring to another city and would be leading a new project. Kurosawa supported me, though there was sadness in his eyes. Unfortunately, we would see each other much less often now. A month passed after my move. There was an overwhelming amount of work. Every evening I practically collapsed from exhaustion. But more than anything, I missed Kurosawa. One day I couldn't take it anymore and asked for time off to see him. I had something important to tell him. I had thought a lot about us, about the future, and I realized that at this stage, words and touches were no longer enough. After returning to Tokyo, I want to live with him. It's a step towards our future, towards a life where we are always together. Kurosawa didn't expect this. He dropped to his knees and burst into tears, and I comforted him with a gentle kiss. He confessed that he wanted to be with me forever too, and held out a small box with wedding rings. It turned out we had been thinking about the same thing all along. We exchanged rings and held each other tightly. A few months later, I successfully finished the project and returned home. Soon after, we got married. Now everything will definitely be all right.